The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the quiet suburban neighborhood. It was a picturesque scene, the kind that looked like it belonged on a postcard. Children played on the sidewalks, laughter ringing out as they chased each other, their carefree spirits untainted by the darker realities of the world. Among them was Ava, a 10-year-old girl with a wild mane of curly hair and a spirit that matched the vibrancy of the day. She was a fixture in the community, known for her boundless energy and infectious laughter. But beneath her cheerful exterior lay a secret that few knew, one that would soon be tested in ways she could never have imagined. Ava had a best friend, a loyal companion who was always by her side. His name was Max, a scruffy little terrier with a heart of gold. Max had been with Ava since she was a baby, and the two shared an unbreakable bond. Wherever Ava went, Max followed, his tail wagging furiously, always ready for an adventure. But Max was more than just a pet. He was Ava's protector, her secret defender. He had an uncanny ability to sense danger, and his fierce loyalty made him a formidable ally, even for a 10-year-old girl. One crisp autumn afternoon, as the leaves began to turn shades of gold and crimson, Ava and Max ventured into the nearby woods, a place they often explored together. The woods were alive with the sounds of nature, the rustling of leaves, the distant call of birds, and the gentle whisper of the wind. Ava loved the woods. It was a realm of imagination where she could be anyone, do anything. Max, ever vigilant, trotted alongside her, his nose twitching as he sniffed the air, always on alert. As they wandered deeper into the woods, Ava's laughter echoed among the trees. She imagined herself as a brave explorer, discovering hidden treasures and secret paths. But unbeknownst to her, lurking just beyond the trees were two figures, watching her every move with predatory interest. They were older boys, known in the neighborhood for their troublemaking antics. They had a reputation for being bullies, and today, they had set their sights on Ava, believing her to be an easy target. The boys exchanged glances, their smirks growing wider as they approached. They thought Ava was alone, an unsuspecting child in a vast forest, ripe for their mischief. But what they didn't know was that Max was not just a dog. He was a guardian, and he sensed their intentions long before they got close. Ava felt a shift in the air, a subtle change that made her pause. Max's demeanor shifted too. His playful energy transformed into a low growl, a sound that sent a shiver down her spine. She turned to look at him, confusion clouding her features. "What is it, Max?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Max stood rigid, ears perked, eyes locked on the approaching figures. The boys, emboldened by their numbers, approached with an air of arrogance. "Hey, little girl, what are you doing out here all alone?" one of them taunted, his voice dripping with condescension. Ava felt a knot tighten in her stomach, but she stood her ground. She had been taught to be brave, to face her fears head-on. "I'm not alone," she replied defiantly, her eyes darting to Max, who was now barking fiercely, a sound that echoed through the trees. The boys hesitated, momentarily taken aback by the small dog's ferocity. They had expected an easy target, not a fierce little guardian ready to defend his friend. "Yeah, right. What's that little mutt gonna do?" the other boy scoffed, taking a step closer. But Max was undeterred. He lunged forward, barking louder, his small frame filled with an intensity that belied his size. Ava felt a surge of confidence. She knew Max would protect her, and that gave her strength. "Leave us alone!" Ava shouted, her voice stronger than she felt. The boys exchanged glances, their bravado wavering as they realized the girl was not as easy a target as they had hoped. They had underestimated her spirit and the loyalty of her furry companion. "Come on, let's just mess with her a little," one of the boys sneered. But the other seemed to have second thoughts. "Maybe we should just go," he said, glancing at Max, who was still barking ferociously. The atmosphere shifted. The boys could sense the tension, the palpable energy of a confrontation brewing. But before they could retreat, Max took a bold step forward, teeth bared, and the boys froze. Ava could see the fear creeping into their eyes, the realization that they were not the predators they thought they were. Max, despite his small stature, stood his ground, a fierce protector ready to defend his friend at all costs. "Get out of here!" Ava shouted again, her heart racing. The boys, now clearly intimidated, exchanged one last look before turning on their heels and running away, their laughter replaced by nervous glances over their shoulders. Ava watched them go, her heart pounding, a mixture of relief and adrenaline coursing through her veins. As the woods returned to their tranquil state, Ava knelt down, wrapping her arms around Max. "You were amazing!" she exclaimed, her voice filled with awe. Max wagged his tail, panting happily, as if he understood the weight of the moment. They had faced danger together, and their bond had only grown stronger, but the encounter left a lingering sense of unease in Ava's heart. She realized that the world outside her backyard was not always safe, that there were those who would take advantage of the unsuspecting. She had learned a valuable lesson that day about courage, loyalty, and the importance of having a protector by her side. In the days that followed, Ava and Max became inseparable. They explored the woods with renewed vigor, but now they were more cautious. Ava's parents noticed a change in her demeanor. She was more aware of her surroundings, more vigilant. They had always trusted her to play outside, but now they began to accompany her on her adventures, sharing in the joy of discovery while ensuring her safety. Ava felt empowered by the experience. She began to share her story with her friends, telling them about the encounter with the boys and how Max had defended her. Her friends listened with wide eyes, captivated by the tale of bravery and friendship. They, too, began to appreciate the importance of standing up for themselves and looking out for one another. As the weeks turned into months, Ava's story spread throughout the neighborhood. The boys who had tried to intimidate her became the subject of whispered conversations, their reputation tarnished by the tale of a little girl and her fierce dog. They had thought they could prey on her innocence, but instead, they had awakened a spirit of resilience in her and a sense of community among her friends. Ava's school organized a safety workshop where they taught students about being aware of their surroundings, standing up against bullying, and the importance of having a support system. Ava volunteered to share her story, standing in front of her classmates, her heart racing as she recounted the day Max had protected her. She spoke of bravery, friendship, and the power of loyalty, her words resonating with her peers. The workshop ignited a spark in the students, encouraging them to look out for one another, to be vigilant, and to stand up against bullying. Ava's bravery inspired others to share their own stories, creating a ripple effect of empowerment within the school. As winter approached, the neighborhood transformed into a winter wonderland, blanketed in snow. Ava and Max continued their adventures, now with a group of friends who had rallied around the idea of sticking together. They built snow forts, had snowball fights, and created memories that would last a lifetime. The bond they shared was unbreakable, forged in the fires of adversity. One chilly afternoon, as they played in the snow, Ava spotted a familiar figure in the distance. It was one of the boys who had tried to intimidate her months ago. He stood alone, watching the group with a look of uncertainty. Ava felt a mix of emotions, fear, anger, and a glimmer of compassion. She had learned the importance of standing up for herself, but she also understood that everyone had their struggles. Gathering her friends, Ava approached the boy. "Hey!" she called out, her voice steady. The boy looked startled, unsure of how to respond. "Do you want to join us?" she asked, surprising even herself with her offer. Her friends exchanged glances, unsure of what to think, but Ava stood firm. The boy hesitated, his eyes darting to the group before settling back on Ava. "Really?" he asked, skepticism lacing his voice. "You're not afraid of me?" Ava shook her head. "No. We all make mistakes. You can play with us if you want." To her surprise, the boy stepped forward, a tentative smile breaking through his uncertainty. "Okay," he said, and the tension in the air dissipated. As they played together, Ava realized that even those who had once been adversaries could find common ground. The boy shared his own stories, revealing a side of himself that Ava had never seen. They laughed and played, the lines that had once divided them blurring in the warmth of camaraderie. As the day came to a close, Ava felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. She had faced her fears, stood up for herself, and even offered kindness to someone who had once threatened her. Max, ever by her side, wagged his tail, sensing the joy in the air. Together, they had created a safe space, a community where everyone could thrive. Ava learned that true strength came not just from courage, but also from compassion. She understood that her secret defender was not just Max, but also the friendships she had nurtured and the community that had rallied around her. They were all protectors in their own right, standing together against the darkness and lifting each other up. As the seasons changed, so did Ava. She grew more confident, more resilient, and more aware of the world around her. She had transformed from a girl who once felt vulnerable into a beacon of strength and kindness. And through it all, Max remained her steadfast companion, a reminder of the bond they shared and the adventures that lay ahead. The sun set on another day, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. Ava and Max sat on the porch, watching the world around them. They had faced challenges, but they had also discovered the power of friendship, the importance of standing up for one another, and the beauty of compassion. Together, they were ready to take on whatever came next, knowing that they were never alone.